This is absolutely unbelievable. The general puts its entire battalion under the risk of HIMARS attack. At the same time, there are extremely loud noises in Crimea, and one Russian person got arrested for absolutely ridiculous thing. But more about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. And let's immediately go to the south of Ukraine. And first of all, in Oleshki, Ukrainians were able to destroy a relatively big drone operating base of Russians. In the next video right here, you can also see a radar of Russians Borysa-Glebovsk being deconstructed by Ukrainian forces as well. Guys, don't worry, ridiculous Russian propaganda is coming. I just decided to try to rearrange some chapters just to see how this new format works. I also will be very curious to hear what you think. Next we have a video from Ukrainian Lancet type drones called RAM-X and RAM-2, which by the way they do have artificial intelligence, which basically allows them to capture its target and approach it, and despite the fact that it even might lose connection with its operator, it will still be able to fulfill its mission. In Crimea, reportedly a pretty big Russian military helicopter Ka-27 was intercepted. At first, Russians were saying that there was some kind of malfunction with the engine or anything like this, but apparently according to the locals and according to the Ukrainian representatives, it was the interception of Russian air defense system themselves. Basically, it was a friendly fire. And ultimately, also speaking about Crimea, according to the head of Krasnogvardeyski region, Vasily Grabovan, he's saying that in the near future there will be extremely very loud noises coming from the neighborhoods, and the reason for this it is because they will be removing some of the projectiles and munition that Ukrainians left there. But apparently, to be honest, it looks like a warning that something is about to happen very soon. And now, probably what a lot of you have been waiting for, it is time for ridiculous Russian propaganda. Cannot speak louder than this, just kidding. The baby is sleeping, so yeah. Long story short, one of Russian people, he was detained by the FSB, which is the modern KGB. And they basically said that this guy, he is a traitor, he was about to betray the motherland, he is an agent of America. And in order to confirm this, in order to say that this is exactly true, we're not lying to you guys, they found an American flag in the apartment of this guy. So, well, apparently it was enough for them to blame that he's a traitor. But another thing which they found was a handwritten American anthem. Like, yes, in the modern age when there are printers, when there's internet, according to the FSB, this guy for some reason needed to write down American anthem in one of his notebooks. And apparently those two things was enough for the FSB to claim that this guy is a dangerous element of the society, he needs to be put away behind bars. So right now there is a full-scale investigation and this guy might actually get a jail sentence. I will keep you updated on this situation in case it receives some development, but yeah, that's the level of fear and anxiety that the Russian authorities they have towards people who like Western culture. Right, enough with this clownship, to say the least. Now let's get serious and talk about, and let me give you a quick update from the front lines, and we're gonna talk about Russian commanders' decision to assemble infantry and endanger them, to say the least. But guys, first of all, we're very close to 250,000 subscribers, just think about it, 250,000 subscribers. And if you don't mind and you want to help me reach this number as soon as possible, can you please simply like this video and subscribe to my channel, and let's do a baby reveal on 250,000 subscribers. You can also follow me on Instagram for some dead stories, the link to my Instagram is down below. And so yes, right before we go to the eastern front lines in Ukraine, right here is the satellite image of this aircraft factory in Voronezh, which was attacked by Ukrainians several days ago. At first, Russians did claim that they were able to intercept every single Ukrainian drone, but well, you simply cannot lie to the pictures taken from space. And just for comparison reasons, which as you can see, I mean, aircraft factory is definitely a legitimate military target for Ukrainians. Well, as a result of Russian attack recently, Kharkiv, a residential neighborhood in Kharkiv, was severely damaged, and just Overall, Ukrainian air defense system was able to intercept 14 out of 17 Shahid drones, 2 out of 2 metallic cylinders Ha-59, but unfortunately not a single metallic cylinder ballistic one or hypersonic was intercepted. Next is the video from Belgorod region, where anti-Putin forces, such as Freedom of Russia Legion, are fighting. They showed some of their combat activities, a small compilation. And then right here is the video from the winter operations of those Russian freedom fighters, which is pretty much a whole entire documentary. Guys, I decided to share this one completely for free with you. The link to it will be on my Patreon. The link is down below. Our next stop brings us to a small settlement in the east called Toninke, where Ukrainians were able to repel a relatively big assault attempt by Russians. And then right here is the pretty much compilation of results of the failed attempts by Russians recently, which basically shows that at least 20 units of various kinds of military vehicles of Russians were left behind, deconstructed in this area alone. Another relatively extraordinary video is whenever Russians are using one of their tanks to remove some underground surprises left there by Ukrainians, and it pretty much failed its objective successfully. And even more extraordinary, just absolutely unbelievably ridiculous thing about this particular thing is that Russians decided to remove these underground surprises only after they attempted to advance in this specific area, and those particular surprises did not allow them to do it. So it's like, yeah, Russians were advancing, then there was some loud noises coming from the underground, they couldn't do anything, some of them fell asleep forever. And then they're like, okay, now it is time to take out those presents. And speaking about those so-called underground surprises, right here is the video of one of Ukrainian land drones, which is able to deliver those presents right next to Russian positions at night. So obviously Russians, most likely, they do not even know about the existence of such generosity from Ukrainian army. Just to wake up in the morning for some stretching, for some morning exercises, and to go back to sleep. Next, in Umansk, just last day alone, 2 huge attempts by Russians were prevented by Ukrainians, and at least 25 armored vehicles of various kinds were deconstructed forever. And for those very few of you guys watching who still potentially think that Russians came to Ukraine to actually liberate the country from those evil people from the government and to help rebuild the villages and so on, right here is the bird's eye view of one of the settlements called Ivanivske, which is relatively close to Bakhmut, where Russians are once again, unfortunately, using their favorite tactics of just putting everything to the ground, deconstructing all the way until there's no stones left standing at all. This used to be a nice, quiet, small settlement with people going around their business on a daily basis. It was full of trees, greenery, everything, roads, cars, people. Well, now it is just a plot of grey land. So without a doubt at this point it is Ukrainians who are protecting themselves against Russians, not the opposite way around. And so, for example, right here is one of another, yet unfortunately, attempts by Russians in the east of Ukraine, and you can see pretty much a textbook combat performance by the Ukrainian army. They were able to repel this attempt with so ease. This is just like, it's like Russians are not even trying. After watching this video, you'll be like, it cannot be just so easy. Guys, as always, please go ahead and watch this video for yourselves. The full uncensored version is on my Patreon, and if you decide to subscribe to my service, you will be receiving fully uncensored episodes of The Russian Dude. I know how annoying it is to see this censored footage. Unfortunately, this is the thing that I have to comply to be able to upload videos on YouTube. And yeah, if you also decide to subscribe to my Patreon, the best way to support the channel, so once again, please go ahead and check it. The link is down below. And another relatively interesting video to quickly talk about is this one, where Russians are using motorbikes with as little as only 2 people per bike to get closer to the front lines. The idea behind this is that those bikes are fast and agile, they can maneuver in any direction, so it makes it impossible, almost impossible, for Ukrainians to target them, and it just unfortunately might even seem like a waste of resources. You might do some strikes with the howitzers and so on, and you just simply will miss majority of them. And yeah, that's the idea of this new Russian tactic. Some people might even think that this is a relatively smart strategy, unless you are a Russian general, unless you're a Z commander. Because approximately a month ago in Yelenovka in Donetsk region, there was a huge assembly of the Russian infantry, all of them concentrated in a single place, and the Russian generals were pretty much awarding some medals, some recognition, some speeches, motivational ones, while Ukrainians took this as an opportunity and they delivered a HIMARS attack. Several dozen of Z soldiers fell asleep forever, and guess what? This was not even close to be a good lesson for the Z commanders. Because almost just 1 week later, the Z leadership decided to think that, well, the apple does not fall in the same place twice, right? So, I mean, Ukrainians should not do it ever again. So, you know what? Let's assemble the entire battalion to just give out instructions, to do some maybe morning exercises, to just deliver a speech. And that's exactly what they did. The guy who is filming this is a part of this battalion, I'm assuming, and he's literally saying that, like, how ridiculous can you be? There was a similar attack less than a week ago, and now you do exactly the same. This is already unconventional, ridiculous, let's say so, enough. But then this guy decided to publish this video on the internet, which obviously means that Ukrainians also came to know about the location of this concentration of the infantry. The future destiny of this particular battalion of the Z army is quote-unquote unknown. But guys, who are we to judge and question the strategy of the Z army? Because if they would be perfect, they will be able to capture Kiev in 3 days as it was originally planned. So just, yeah, let's leave them be, let's let them do what they do, and Ukrainians to enjoy the benefits of this ridiculousness from time to time. Guys, please go ahead and watch my previous video when I was talking about Putin literally begging for help from Kazakhstan. For some reason, YouTube algorithm did not notify majority of you, that is why it does not have that many views. And at the same time, if you want to continue receiving these daily reports, please subscribe to my channel. 250,000 is a baby reveal. Don't forget about official Russian Dude merch. You can get this hoodie and this incredible case, which I'm using personally, as you can see, every single day. Love it so much. Don't forget about my Patreon for early access and additional uncensored footage. Thank you so much for watching, and see you tomorrow.